Hi, I'm Ben Orford and we're going to show you how to spring clean your bushcraft knife. So we're going to show you how to spring clean your bushcraft knife, and we want to show you these fantastic little products that are great for cleaning the blades of your tools. These are a little product called Gary Flex. They're a rubber abrasive which is great for cleaning the blades of either your bushcraft knife or your axes. So we'll show you how to maintain a typical bushcraft knife. If your knife's got a wooden handle, we'll cover that a little bit later on. But to start with, we're going to show you how to clean off any rust or any marks that you've got on the blade of your knife. Now, first of all, maintain the same scratch pattern on your knife. So normally the scratch pattern goes from the handle to the tip. So that's the direction that we're going to be working in. And depending how rusty your knife is, you can choose which grit to start with. Blue is the coarse, grey is the medium, and then the sort of beige is the finest. So this isn't too rusty, so we'll probably start with a medium grit, making sure that you come from behind the cutting edge so that you don't cut your fingers, and then you can move the Gary Flex back and forth, and that will just take off any tarnish and any rust. Straight away you can see it's starting to polish it up nicely. So we've used the medium grit on both sides of the knife and got off all the horrible sort of rust and tarnish. So now we can swap over and we can use the fine grit. Again, making sure that you come from behind the cutting edge, and we can do that on both sides. Keep going until you're happy with the finish that you want. You can also use this Gary Flex on any other metal parts, so if you've got any corrosion on your axe head, other woodworking tools, it'll do just the same job. So if you've got a wooden handled bushcraft knife, once you've cleaned up the blade and got rid of all the rust, you can tape up the blade so that you're not going to cut your fingers, and then you can clean up the handle with some very light sanding with some very fine grit paper, probably no coarser than about 240 grit, and then you can work right down to something as fine as maybe 400, 600, something like that. Again, make sure that you sand the handle in the direction of the grain rather than across it, otherwise you'll leave horrible scratches. So once you're happy with the sanded handle, you can apply a little bit more oil on there to feed the wood, ideally something like linseed oil, or you can use tung oil, something like that, and apply a nice coating to the handle, bring out the grain, seal the wood, and then once you've applied it, you can take off the excess. Don't leave a heavy coat on there, like so. And then ideally you can hang it up from the lanyard hole and let it dry for a good 24 hours. So once you've spruced your knife, it might be a good opportunity to spend a bit of time looking after the sheath now. So if you've got a leather sheath, you can feed the leather itself with perhaps a leather balm. We use a substance called golden mink oil, which protects the leather, makes it waterproof and feeds the stitching. So you can just apply a little bit of that, wipe that onto the stitching, give it a good old coat, and then you can buff off the excess and make your sheath as good as new. So we've cleaned up the blade, we've sorted out the handle, and we've even spruced the sheath. So now we can remove the tape from the blade, give the knife a good sharpen. Once it's sharp, it's not a bad idea to protect the steel by just applying a little bit of camellia oil on both sides of the blade. That'll stop it getting rusty, and then we can pop it back in the sheath, and then it'll be ready for the next time we need it.